After days of negotiations, 20 desperately needed aid trucks have crossed into Gaza from Egypt. Once those trucks from the Egyptian and Palestinian Red Crescent movements moved through, the Rafah crossing was closed again. The trucks are carrying medicine and food supplies, but no fuel. The crossing is the only main route into the besieged enclave not controlled by Israel. Let's bring in CTV's Heather Wright, who is in Jaffa, Israel, with the latest. Heather, the Rafah border finally opened up briefly. What does that indicate for the future?
Well, it's a start. Those 20 trucks are a start to get aid into Gaza, to get medical supplies, food, and water to people who have been under a complete siege for nearly 2 weeks now. We know that food and water have been very low, but also fuel. And there was, as you mentioned, Roger, no fuel aboard those trucks. There are concerns about what that fuel might be used for, whether it would go toward Hamas, but the fuel is needed to power those generators that are running hospitals. For now, though, fuel is not included, but much needed medical supplies are. It's a start. 20 trucks is really not enough to support the people of Gaza who need that aid. To put it into perspective, before the complete siege, the World Food Program says about 400 trucks of aid was flowing into Gaza on a daily basis. So 20 trucks bringing some of that aid that's needed, but there are increasing calls to get more trucks flowing and to get some sort of schedule underway that would bring in, a certain number of trucks a day to be able to distribute that aid to the people who need it.
Now, you mentioned about the fuel not being part of this aid coming in. Are hospitals are they still functioning? They had talked a couple of days ago that they were running out of fuel. Are they still functioning?
They are, to the best of their abilities, still functioning, but it's been almost 2 weeks of this complete siege. And so they would have supplies and backup resources of fuel, but running generators for 2 weeks at a time to keep the lights on at hospitals, it's getting very low. And so that was high on the list of things that they wanted in order to keep the lights on. We were told a few days ago that it might be 24 or 48 hours until that fuel for the generators run out. They're rationing what they can, but that is on the next list of things to negotiate, is perhaps getting a limited amount of fuel to those hospitals in order to keep the lights on.
Now, we've talked about a ground attack by Israeli forces. We're seeming to hear some details. Does it feel like it's becoming imminent now, or are they still planning?
It's really hard to tell. I mean, we've been told that it's imminent for over a week now. So certainly the troops have been mobilized to the border with Gaza. We've been down in the south over the last couple of days, and you can really see the military presence there. There are a number of camps, tanks, soldiers all ready to go in when they get that green light. And even the Prime Minister of Israel and its defense minister were down there the other day, sort of rallying the troops, telling them that they will soon see Gaza from the inside. So it's not clear when exactly that will happen. The Israeli officials have said that they will go in when the conditions are right for them. Complicating all of these things are, of course, the hostages. The fact that there are still over 200 people that are being held hostage by Hamas. Obviously, 2 were released yesterday. And so that is something that is top of mind for Israeli officials, because they want to make sure that they know where those hostages are. They want to make sure that those hostages can be rescued if any ground invasion is going to take place.
Are we getting any more details on I know the 2 that were released, but may more be released in the next little while? Have we heard any hope of that?
That remains to be seen. Of course, that is the hope that so many families are holding on to, and seeing the release of those 2 American women yesterday gave a lot of families hope that their loved ones are still alive and could soon be released. Israel said yesterday, following the release of those 2 hostages, that they don't have any indication as to others that might be coming. But those are all back-channel negotiations that are happening. Of course, we know Qatar was very closely involved in negotiating the release of the 2 American women. women. They are speaking directly to Hamas and are acting as sort of an intermediary between Israel, other Western countries, and other countries that have people who they believe are kidnapped by Hamas. So those are all the back channel negotiations that are going on. And we don't know if there's a direct link to the fact that these 2 American hostages were released yesterday and the Rafah border crossing opened today. So there's a lot going on, but certainly those back channel negotiations are underway to see if any more hostages might be released in the coming days.
All right, CTV's Heather Wright, thank you very much for the update.